Good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Bill Einecker, and I'll be the moderator for this morning's meeting. May I ask everybody to stand for Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get started, I have a quick announcement. Ray Harvey, Roger Sweat, and myself have been running many elections, and so we're moving on, and we have a new election committee starting. They're here this morning. Mike Brenny, Cash Striplin, and Paige Zanuck. So they'll be handling the future elections. And with that, let's get into today's agenda.
Can we applaud them?
Sure. We have three wonderful candidates who have stepped forward to fill the two opening positions that we have, and those positions will have a term until 12/31/25. And the three candidates are Matt Cambick, Sean Kreiderman, and Eileen Depka. So as I said, we have three wonderful candidates. So the way the meeting will go this morning, each candidate will have 5 minutes to cover their bio, tell you why they're running, and then after the three complete that process, we will open up for questions. So with that, I'd like to introduce Matt Cambick.
Good morning. My name is Matt Cambick, and I am a candidate for the HOA board. Let me tell you a few things about me. I'm a passionate fella. Passionate about the gal I married 41 years ago. Passionate about my two kids and my two grandkids. Passionate about living here in Saddlebrook. I think we live in a slice of heaven here. And I'm passionate about service, giving back to the community. Passionate about the Ohio State Buckeyes football team. And I am passionate about the game of golf. Patty and I moved here in 2014. We came here because we love the mountains and the sun. And I told her I just wanted to play golf year-round. Well, we came to this community and found there was a great number of things that we could do. My wife's the pickleball player in the family. She does the workout stuff you gals do. So we take advantage of the amenities that are here in Saddlebrook. My experience here in the community is I spent 4 years serving the members of the Mountain View Preserve Men's Golf Association, run tournaments, and served as the president for a couple of years. And I got recruited to take on the golf committee, and I took that job on in January of 2021. So I've served under two boards, been two uniquely different experiences. And so in 2021, I got to work with a board, and we ended up building a plan to rebuild the Mountain View Golf Course. It's only 25 years old and in desperate need of some work that had been ignored for a great number of years. In addition to that, we did some long-range planning. We tried to help the board understand all the challenges associated with the golf enterprise, and we wrote a plan for 30 years. Dan Lineker is sitting back there. I called the plan 2050. He said, Matt, I'll be dead in 2050. I said, you will be, Saddlebrook won't be. And so we kept doing our work. I tell you that because I believe in having a vision. I believe in strategic planning. We keep stacking years on top of each other. We're now almost through our 5th year of ownership since the transition in January 2018. One of the dangers of going year by year is not knowing where you're going to end up in 10 years. And I think we need a plan to do precisely that. I think we in the community need to have voice. We have to have voice. We have to demand voice. And so I'm an advocate of community voice. We need to build the community that you want. It's what you want that matters most. No 7 people should take that voice away from you. And so that's what I stand for. I think we're a great community. I think we have vast potential. I will tell you, in 2018, we inherited a community that had deficiencies. And the great majority of those deficiencies haven't been identified to you in the community, and they need to be. You need to understand where we have to go for this community to realize its full potential. I'm an advocate of putting those stories up and having a conversation with you to figure out if you want them or not. In closing, I would tell you this. We've had 5 boards. Each board stands on the shoulders of the people that came before them. A lot of hard work has been done to give us the community that we currently have. I'm interested in the community that you want for the future. I would appreciate your support when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Our next speaker will be Sean Kreiderman.
Oh, no, I'm going to podium. Good morning. I am Sean Kreiderman, Unit 49, Lot 178. On September 14th, I started my 14th year of living in Saddlebrook. You can read all the particulars of my pre-Saddlebrook life in my resume, but here are the highlights. To date, I have made 3 important and life-changing decisions. Number 1, attend and graduate from a small Presbyterian liberal arts college. In 1975, I received my BA from Alma College, Alma, Michigan, with a double major in both elementary education and physical education. Number 2, leave friends, family, and Michigan to work overseas for the Department of Defense dependent schools and travel throughout the world. While living overseas in 1979, I earned a Master in the Art of Classroom Teaching from Michigan State University. And in 1988, I completed my elementary administrative studies while attending New Jersey State University during 3 consecutive summers in Mallorca, Spain. From 1979 until 2009, I taught elementary school and was a principal for the Department of Defense Education Activity. I taught in Korea, Italy, Turkey, Iceland, and Okinawa. During the time that I was a teacher, I was elected the faculty representative spokesperson for the Teachers Union. Then I was selected to be the all-European representative for the Advisory Council for Dependence Education in Washington, D.C. As an elementary principal, I worked in Korea, Okinawa, Germany, and then ended my career as principal of West Point Elementary School at the United States Military Academy, West Point, New York. I have worked with and for many different nationalities, people of faiths and beliefs different than mine, and people with very different lifestyles. I am proud to say that the way I worked well with these individuals was establishing mutual trust and honest communication. We all worked toward a common goal with no hidden agendas, doing what was best for those we represented. Each and every project or event ended with a positive, productive conclusion. Number 3, third most important decision, retire and build my dream home in Saddlebrook. My Saddlebrook service is extensive and widespread. Most rewarding to date, co-founder, Community Circle Players, participating as director, producer, actress, and audience member for 7 years. Saddlebrook Pickleball Association fundraising co-chair for the past 5 years, helping to raise $750,000 for the 8 new pickleball courts in Ramada, which overall accounts for half the money it took to build our new facility. Thank you. Being the HOA2 Multi-Use Activity Center Task Force Chairperson, July 2021 through February 2022. Why do I want to be elected to the HOA2 board? To continue to pay it forward. We should enjoy life and retirement in our wonderful active adult community, even though we don't always agree. The HOA2 board and residents have hard choices to make to maintain our facilities, recreation areas, and neighborhoods. Sufficient money, funds, or the lack thereof, will be a huge challenge for the 2023 HOA2 board. Sitting back, not getting involved, just watching will not remedy any situation. We should and must be able to listen to each other's point of view, try to see what's best for the whole Saddlebrook community, and then act accordingly. I will appreciate your support during the voting process, and when I am elected, will welcome your thoughts and opinions. I look forward to hearing what you have to say and will listen to those who share my ideals of respect and positive interaction. I will be available unless I am in rehearsal for a production, swimming laps in the pool, playing pickleball, or enjoying a meal with friends. Please vote for me, SFC. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Our next speaker will be Eileen Depka.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Eileen Depka, and in the next 5 minutes, I'd like to talk to you about 4 different categories of information. First, I want to tell you a little bit about me personally, then about my volunteer experiences in Saddlebrook, followed by my educational and employment background, and then why is it that I want to be a board member. So, first of all, my husband Jeff and I have 3 children and 1 grandchild. We've been married for 46 years. One extremely brutal winter in Wisconsin, we said enough is enough, and we moved to Saddlebrook 6 years ago. We love Saddlebrook and can't imagine living anywhere else. We have a wonderful community, and we have incredible residents. Jeff and I are avid golfers, but we appreciate also the restaurants, the sports, the clubs, the plays, the musical events. In fact, we appreciate all of the amenities that Saddlebrook has to offer. So moving on to some of my volunteer activities. I was privileged to be a member of the Common Area Task Force. I help out in the Adopt a Hole program on holes 13, 14 on Mountain View. I lead and have led Adopt a Unit volunteers, and I have volunteered for the Women's Collegial Golf Tournament. I also am very actively involved in planning and implementing unit activities. So that brings us to my education and employment background. I have a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Wisconsin, a master's degree from Cardinal Stritch University, and a PhD in organizational leadership from Cardinal Stritch University. My employment has been mostly in education. I started out as a teacher and went into several administrative roles, mostly throughout Wisconsin. I am an educational author and published worldwide. I have done educational consulting throughout the United States from 1998 to 2020. At this point, I'd like to share with you some of the experiences that I've had as part of my employment, because I think that they will work to support me as a board member. All of these experiences, of course, were done collaboratively, even though I'm talking about myself at this point. I've provided leadership in organizational improvement to educational institutions throughout the United States. I've organized and implemented employee development experiences to increase knowledge and skills. I've worked with organizations to coordinate and implement initiatives to make them an improved organization. I've researched and implemented employee performance evaluation systems. I've engaged in and coordinated strategic planning processes. I've written, implemented, and evaluated the impact of dozens of policies. I've created long and short-term budgets to fit within budgetary constraints. I've collected and used data to guide actions and improve organizational functioning. I'm a very strong believer in the use of data. I work closely in partnerships with communities for the success and mutual understanding and support of the organization. So why is it that I want to be a board member? Well, number one, I believe the experiences that I have had provide me with a wide variety of knowledge and skills that are needed to be a quality board member. My background lends itself to tasks that a board member may engage in. Number two, in order for a community to function in a positive way, there needs to be support and a cohesive and collaborative relationship between the board and the community. I will promote that collaborative relationship and increase lines of communication. Number three, as a former member of the Common Area Task Force, I support full implementation of the Common Area Maintenance Policy. It was well-researched, collaboratively written, and board approved. It will ensure well-cared-for and consistently appealing areas, common areas, throughout the HOA when fully implemented. Number four, I believe we should take notice of the work of the United Saddlebrook and their efforts to provide a sustainable future for the HOAs and keep an open mind to the possibilities that they present. The community will be the final decision makers, of course. Number five, I will work to support the growth and fiscal responsibility of HOA2 while being mindful of the needs and expectations of the community. Number five, finally, I plan to listen, to be open-minded, and be an active voice for HOA2 residents. I will promote transparency in board communication and action. I will be available, I will listen, I will treat you with the honor and the respect that you deserve. Thank you for your time. I'm Eileen Depka, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Eileen. As you can see, we have 3 strong candidates for the 2 open positions on the board. We will now open the meeting up to questions. There's a microphone on each side of the theater. You may ask a question that all 3 of the candidates will answer, or you may ask a question that's directed to a specific candidate. You may ask only one question at a time. If there's a line behind you, I ask that you go to the end of the line and come forward to ask your further questions. So with that, who wants to ask the first question? Now, I know this audience isn't bashful. Go ahead.
Don Erickson, Unit 27, Lot 3. That property is probably more recognizable to golfers as a naming point for their second shot on hole number 11 at Mountain View. It's the house with the solar panels up there. Those of you that do golf will also notice that as you come around the corner to park and go putt, that my property from the pony wall down to the golf course is one gnarly, scary jungle. I have buffalo grass, I have weeds behind the 8-foot section there that the HOA cannot keep up with. I have prickly pear cactus that are morphing into pack rat nests. There are trees that are impeding the drain at the bottom of that area. Unfortunately, I don't think my situation is unique. If I look around both golf courses, there's a lot of property that lies between the walls and the cart paths that is getting kind of out of control. I'd like to ask each of the board members to give some thought as to what they would do to come up with some sort of proactive maintenance that will keep the jungle at bay. Thank you.
Don, all you have to do is what Eileen said. You have to fully resource the maintenance capability to service the policy that we have in place. That does not currently exist. So as my 2 mates have already told you, it's just going to cost you a little bit more money to get that job done.
I'm going to concur with Matt. I heard Eileen say, and I know she was on the task force, and I believe that's coming up at the working board meeting on Friday to approve to get the common maintenance funds we need to clean up the mess. But I won't know until Friday. But no, we want Saddlebrook to look like and be the paradise that it is. So if there's a problem, have you sent word into the common maintenance people that you have issues? Okay, all right, just checking. All right, but I think this problem is going to be addressed and hopefully fixed.
It's been a long road we've been working with the common area maintenance issues for about 4 or 5 years now. And I think we're in a place where things are moving forward and hopefully will with the board meeting on Friday. Level 5 is the area in the common area maintenance policy that Don is talking about. And level 5 in the maintenance policy says that once per year, areas from the cart path to the wall or from the wall to the nominal fairway will be cleaned up. In other words, trees will be trimmed, the saplings will be taken down, the pack rat nests will be cared for. And there are other areas within the policy that are not covered by that, but I believe that with a 5-year plan in working with level 5 and then going beyond that to the other pieces of the plan, we do have an excellent policy. We just need to work to fund it, to coordinate it, and to map it out so that it can actually clean up the areas that we need cleaned up.
The other thing is, remember, this was a very unusual weather year. And the rain and the rain and the rain. And look at how beautiful and green our mountains are. So not only did they have to worry about the growth, but they had to worry about and are working very hard to clean out those drains. So I think that the common area maintenance people have worked very, very hard. But I think it'll be addressed Friday, I hope.
Yeah, let me circle back one more time. I have a dream, Don. And the truth is, I played Monday over at the Views, and I took careful note of the space between cart paths and property owners of property. We have a long way to go. And as you can see, there's a lot of energy here to do the right things. It's now time for action on the part of the board, and action out here with you all. We have to tell you what the price tag is, and you have to step up and pay for it.
Next question.
Good morning, Ron Bedke, Unit 42. First, just a comment directed to the election committee for next year. I would suggest a little bit more time frame between the announcement of who the candidates are and a meeting like this to give the community just a little bit more opportunity to understand who these people are, and so we could have this is a nice crowd, but it's nowhere near what we might get if we had a little bit more understanding. Second, the task forces, the long-range planning committees of both HOA 1 and HOA 2, they had slightly different names, but essentially that's what they were. A couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, published a joint statement as to ways to improve the cooperation between the two HOAs and their boards, and made some very specific recommendations. Unfortunately, neither board acted at all and considered their recommendations. And as a founding member of United Saddlebrook, their recommendations coincide pretty much with the object of United Saddlebrook, which is to increase the cooperation between the boards. Will you as individuals review that that memo that was published by the joint committees and see about implementing ways to increase our cooperation between the two HOAs?
Sean, you'll be the first to answer.
Ron, did you ask if we will review it? Is that what your question is?
Yes. Would
Yeah.
you
Absolutely. I have it at home someplace.
I'm sure you do.
Look through my papers. You know, I want you all to know we're going to have our first meeting this afternoon with Therese. She's doing it with all three of us. Now, we realize only two of us will be elected, but they want to get a head start to give us the information we need. So, yeah, I'll be happy to review it.
Therese, by the way, has promised she's not going to discourage us from running for the board. So, Ron, the answer is yes. I will review it. I think that anything that we can do to open lines of communication and just look at possibilities is in our best interest.
I got approached by United Saddlebrook on Thursday. I can tell you I have an arm's length knowledge of their work. I know we just went through the RUA process last year, and a member of our current board sat on that. And I'll tell you what I told Bill when I met with the leadership on Saturday. I don't know many people that don't think one HOA makes sense. As long as you can acknowledge that there are barriers to making that happen that have to be overcome. What I told him is I can't articulate what those barriers are. But certainly it's in our best interest to have open communications with HOA 1 and to share thinking along those lines to the extent that we possibly can. But I'll tell you what I also told the leadership. HOA 1 is in a much different place than HOA 2. And right now my focus is on HOA 2 and the things that we need to put in order in our house.
Yes, sir. Next question.
Philip Kavickia, Unit 30, Lot 40. I get those confused every time somebody asks. So there was, I guess you'd say, rumor around the water cooler that the board is looking to close the Mountain View pool for about 4 to 5 months this coming winter. There are avid users of that pool from several exercise classes, people that use the lap pool, and a large number of people that like to recreate and use the pool as a relaxing place. So I'm going to ask each of you to tell all of us what you're going to do about keeping the pool open. Closing it, I'm going to preference, is not an option. And there's a number of us here and at the pool that would be glad to help the current board or any prospective board members about readdressing any other expenses and then allowing the pool to stay open. That's the largest pool, and it fits as many people as is going to be needed. So I'd like to hear from each of you what you're going to do to keep that pool open. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't think that we will be in a position, because we will not take we will not be board members until January. But what I would like to say is I think it's important for us to review and find out why that's happening and what the expenses are that's involved and what can be done to keep that pool open. I understand that people are here in winter and wanting a heated pool and wanting to do the exercises. What I don't know are all of the facts behind that decision at this point. So I understand. I think that we would need to take a look at what we can do to keep it open and what the reservations are right now for wanting it to be closed.
Yeah, I cannot comment on any board action that hasn't taken place yet, because if I had to respond to every rumor that I hear, we'd be here a long time. What I will tell you this is every amenity in this community is important. There's 3,139 homeowners today. We all come to this community for different reasons. Clearly the pool is very important to you. I promise you, it's very important to those board members that are wrestling with a very difficult budget situation that they're experiencing. I sat through the 3-hour plus budget meeting last week. They've got some real challenges. Nobody's making a decision that I'm aware of. Decision hasn't been made. without careful consideration about the fiscal implications. I'm going to tell you this. Every frustration you have about a board action, in this regard, it's tied to money. That's what I'm going to tell you.
The board or anybody shouldn't close the pool, period. The pool is used by certain folks who can't play tennis, can't golf, can't play pickleball. That's their only recreation. And the Desert View pool is not conducive to getting them into the water. However, I'm going to echo what Matt said, and I challenge you. It's going to cost us. It's going to cost us to do the things we love to do, because everything has gone up. Everything. So people need to stop right now and think, I'm not going to deal with a raise in my dues. You're paying more for groceries. You're paying more for gas. So we need to consider that. But I, as a swimmer, one of the last things I would do would close the pool, especially in the winter when most of our residents are here. But we may not be able to heat it to the degree you want. There will be some sacrifices.
To your point, and thank you for those clarifications, but when you opened up the opportunity and you mentioned about the uniting of the two HOAs, what we've never seen was put a number to that. We've always heard the barriers. Nobody has put a number. So I'm going to challenge each one of you and the current board, put a number to what it takes to keep the pools open. And then we'll decide what we need to do and help the board to keep it open. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Ron Betchke, Unit 42. I'm sorry to come back up, but there was nobody else had a question. So I have one for all three, but it mostly concerns Sean. Sean, in her introduction, didn't tell you that she's a major player in the senior village and runs the transportation section. I don't know whether you don't do that anymore, Sean?
Not true.
Okay.
I'm the lead dispatcher for all of Senior Village, transportation, lockbox, helping hands, forms and documents. Every call that comes in, I turned it off, comes through my watch and my phone. So there you are, but not just transportation, just a clarification, Ron.
Thank you. So
You're welcome.
It's a bigger job than anybody could ever do, and as a former board member of the village, I greatly appreciate it. But Sean also is aware, and the other candidates may be less aware, that the village serves a large number of people who are financially stressed. And in the last housing bust, we had quite a number of houses, I'm not sure Bill might know, that were actually foreclosed because of financial issues. And so when we talk about budget increases, and I understand them, and I am not, fortunately, someone that's going to be impacted by these, financially impacted by these things. Are there any plans that we might have to supplement or support residents who can't meet these financial goals, or are we just going to say too bad?
Matt, your foot's up.
No, I think he's asking all of us that. Boy, I wish I lived in a perfect world. You see, that's the damnable part of this. You want people to tell you the truth, you want people to lie to you. The end of the day is, what community do we want? None of us here can control who moved here 20 years ago or 15 years ago. and life is going to price them out here. But there's already people in financial distress. So to answer that question, what do we do? How do you go backwards? Because I don't have that answer. I just don't know how you do that. And I recognize that there will be challenges associated with any increase in dues for people. But no, I don't have a strategy or a plan to subsidize people that can't afford to live here. I don't have one.
I want to make it perfectly clear that I have no idea what anybody's income or whatever as part of Senior Village. I don't have that information, nor do I want it. Everyone is treated the same by me and my dispatch team. Life is full of personal choice. A personal choice to run for the board or not run for the board. A personal choice to live in Saddlebrook or move out because I can't afford it, or I physically can't stay here, or I mentally can't stay here. I don't know, Ron, if there's a way to supplement or help people. We must be very, very careful about people's pride and their sense of well-being.
I don't have an answer for you. And what you should know about me is when I don't have an answer, I won't make one up. But what I will do, be willing to do anytime, is research a situation and find out what options are. To take a look at the data, to take a look at how many households we're talking about, and to see, is there anything that we can do? Or is there anything that we should do? So that's where I would stand on the situation. But I'm sorry, at this point, I do not have an answer for you.
Any other questions? I can't believe this audience is bashful this morning. Going once? Going twice? Okay, this is going to be a short meeting, but I just want to let everybody know that your official email to vote will be coming to you on Friday, and will be coming from saddlebrook2@ivotehoa.com. And the election period will run from October 21st until November 16th at noon. I want everybody to remember there's one vote per lot, and paper ballots will be available at the admin office. Our election last year, we had the best turnout ever. We had almost 55% of the eligible voters voting. So let's shoot for a goal this year of making it 60%. And in closing, I ask for a round of applause for these three candidates. Thank you all for coming, and everybody have a great day.